Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy, and Trump dispute was seen some time back in G7 meeting, where she was more or less she was kind of insulted by the American president. Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy. Okay, what is Italy? Okay, people they do not consider Italy. So if I talk about the Europe, then Italy is a country which does not have the permanent member as a United Nations Security Council. Italy is a member of G7 country. Italy is a rich country. That's why it is member of G7 countries, along with the Japan, Germany, Italy, France, United Kingdom, Canada, and United States. But politically, Italy is not an important country. Important country in the world are only five as far as they have veto power in the United Nations Security Council. Russia, China, France, England, and United States of America. Otherwise, Italy does not have political power, but Italy is a economical power. Okay, people think Italy is like England only. If I see England, then since long back only England is a big country, United Kingdom. Scotland, Ireland, England. Now it is England. France is a big country. If I talk from the European perspective, then these are big countries. Germany is a big country that got divided and got united again. But then people, when they hear about Italy, then they also think Italy is like France, Germany, England. But very few people know that till some time back, till 1871, how far it is, merely 150 years back, there was no country called Italy. There were seven independent countries in Italian peninsula. Italy is not a landlocked country like Austria, Germany, more or less, or France or something like that. Italy has come out like a peninsula in the Mediterranean Sea. And since Italy is a peninsula, it has seven countries. Seven countries they unified together and they formed Italy. How they got unified, that we will talk now. Okay, later we will see the reason of the unification and those kind of things. Resurgence of Italy. In unification of Italy means resurgence of Italy. How Italy became into the picture. Italy had seven countries. Till 1871, more or less, Italy was not the Italy the way what we see now. There were seven countries and they had different kingdoms. Seven countries were called Regno di Sardegna. So Sardina, people also call Sardina. So Sardina is a country that is in northwest along the France. There was a country called Sardina. Another country called Lombardo. Lombardo is a country along Austria, Lombardo. These are the northwest and northeast of the Italy. Sardina, Lombardo. Okay, then south of the Lombardo, there are two countries, and these are called Parma and Modena. Duchies di Parma and Duchies di Modena. Duchies means a small country. So Parma and Modena. So it is something like if this is Italy, Italy is tilted like this. This is Sardina. This is Sardina. This is Lombardo. So this is Sardina along France. This is Lombardo along Austria. And south to Lombardo, there are two countries. One country is Parma and one country is Modena. Now four countries are here only. Now three countries are along the tail. Italy has a tail. Now along the tail there are three countries. One country is one country is Toscany. Toscany. So in the tail, now Sardinia, Lombardo, Parma, and Modena. Now in the tail where there is a Mediterranean Sea, this side is a country called Toscany. Toscany. Now two countries are here. One country is called Papal State. Papal means Pope. Pope used to sit there. Now he is sitting there now also. Also called Rome. Rome, Papal State are also known as Pontificio. Pontificio. And last country is Sicilia. Sicilia is very famous country. Sicilia is comes in the novel of Shakespeare also. So Sicilia, Rome, Rome, Sicilia is the last one, then Rome or papal state, and then the here it is Tuscany, and then two state here, and then topmost is the Lombardo, and this side Sardinia. Okay, there are seven states in the Italy, and these seven states they were separate rulings, separate government, separate something like that. Okay, how did they invite? There are 3 points that is important in the unification of the Italy. Okay, now it is understood that there are two countries which had influence on the Italy peninsula. One is Austria, means Austria, Switzerland, Germany. These are called one belt of country. Okay, Alps range country. These are have one belt. Means Austria had influence on the Italy, and this side France had influence on the Italy. If France want to do influence on the Italy, then Sardinia is the province in the Italy that is along the France. If Austria wants any influence on the Italy, then Lombardo is the province in the Italy that is along the Austria. Okay. Now, how did they invite Camillo Benso, Count of Cavour, Prime Minister of Sardinia, used diplomacy and wars to expand Sardinia. Now, Sardinia Prime Minister, Mr. Camillo Benso, now he is thinking of expanding Sardinia. Sardinia is a country in the Italian peninsula that is exactly touching the France, northwest. His Prime Minister Camillo Benso, now he is thinking of expanding the Sardinia around 1915 time frame. Giuseppe Garibaldi, Giuseppe Garibaldi led the famous expedition of the Thousand in 1860. He conquered Sicilia and southern Italy with about 1,000 volunteers. There is an army chief in the Sardinia. Army chief in Sardinia, his name is Garibaldi. Garibaldi led a famous expedition of 1,000 volunteers, means 1,000 army people in 1860, and he is marching toward the south, and he is winning Sicily and southern part of all the Italy. Understood? Means Sardinia is a kingdom in the Italy that is northwest of the Italy. It thought about expanding its territory. Now the army chief Giuseppe Garibaldi, he led the army. Victor Emmanuel II, later he became the King Victor Emmanuel II, King of Sardinia, became the first king of unified Italy. Oh, so I'll try again. Now there are two posts looks like in the Sardinia, King and Prime Minister. So King of Sardinia is Victor Emmanuel II. It looks like French name only, Victor Emmanuel II. Right now the president of France is Emmanuel Macron only. So Emmanuel name looks like French only. Anyway, King of the Sardinia is Victor Emmanuel II, and Prime Minister of Sardinia is Camillo Benso. Now, with the help of the military leader Garibaldi, now they are with a war. They are trying to expand the Italy. When it happened, I'll read it out. 1859, Sardinia, with the help of France, see, very big word. 1859, Sardinia, with the help of France, defeated Austria and gained Lombardy. Lombardy is a kingdom along the Sardinia, northwest, northeast is Lombardy along the Austria, and northwest is the Sardinia. Sardinia, with the help of France, they are defeating Austria and they are taking Lombardy into their territory. That happened in 1859. 1860, Garibaldi conquered Sicily and southern Italy and handed this territory to the Emmanuel II. Miss Sardinia controlled the Lombardy in the 1859, and 1860 Sardinia controlled the Sicily, that is the southernmost tip of the peninsula, 1860. So Lombardo and Sicilia became part of Sardinia. Now three countries they came together, only four countries are remaining. 1861, the Kingdom of Italy was proclaimed, but it did not yet include the Venice of Rome. more or less a small country that we are talking about, like Param, Modena, Toscany. So these are not much significant. Much significant is only four countries are there who are big and they have significance. Sardinia, Lombardo, Rome, that is Papal State, and Sicily. So Lombardo and Sicilia is won by 1960. 1961, they declared Kingdom of Italy, but Papal State was not their part. 1966, Italy acquired Venice after the Austria-Bosino War. Means Austria is completely inside the Italy. Only Sardinia is along the France. Otherwise, Lombardo till Sicilia, Austria has big influence. So this can be seen. Everywhere Sardinia Austria war is going on. To win the Lombardo, to win the Rome, again Sardinia Austria war happened in 1866. And finally 1871, Rome became capital of the unified Italy. So 1861, Sardinia declared that we have captured full Italian peninsula. Now this is our kingdom. So Mr. Emmanuel II of the King of the Sardinia, he declared himself as a king of Italy in 1871 after winning the Rome. And then finally they declared Rome as their capital rather than Sardinia as their capital. This is the big thing. So seven country of the Italy, they become unified under the flag of Sardinia. So now question is arising, can we say Italy as Sardinia? Exactly. Italy can be said as a Sardinia only. Sardinia is a province along France which won the six provinces from Austria influence, and they declared as a unified country named Italy. They did not make Sardinia as the capital, they made Rome as their capital. Rome is also called papal state because Pope, very pious Pope, he sits out there. Anyway, this is the, I believe we will continue this discussion. I believe it is understood why it happened and what it happened, leadership claim, and those probably we will continue this. It is not that simple. Now people would be understanding to liberate the Italian peninsula from the Austria. Austria is more or less they were capturing the Italy peninsula. To liberate the Italy from the Austrian prominence, Sardinia, it took the initiative and it captured the Italy. Means they decoupled the Austria. This gives one sign that Europe is actually from the southern Europe. Europe is in two parts. One part is Italy, France, Spain, and Portugal. This is one zone. And another zone is Switzerland, Austria, Germany. This is another zone. This zone is coupled zone, also called Catholic Christian. Means all are Catholic. France, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. But there it is mixture, and then if you go north, then there is Orthodox Christian, not Catholic whatsoever. Means the southern Europe is not the way we think. We think Europe means Europe. Europe is separate Africa, but that is not true. Inside that there is a friction, there is a resistance. So to decouple Austria, the effect of Austria should not go along the Italy. Sardinia, with the help of France, they kicked out Austrians and they made them Italy. Is it the only thing that is true? That we will see. Then we will see the Roman Empire and those kind of things. There used to be a Roman Empire that ruled the Italy 1,500 years. Roman Empire was very big. It was covering Turkey also, southern part of Europe along the Mediterranean Sea, and northern part of the Africa along the Mediterranean Sea. Full round circle. There was a something called Roman Empire, or I would rather say Mediterranean Empire, Mediterranean Sea, along this full circle till Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, north part of the Egypt, and this side, then Syria, then Turkey, and then southern part of the Europe. Full was one empire called Roman Empire, and they ruled this area for 1,500 years. Now they had an idea to come to Roman Empire, but everything depends upon the need. Without need, you don't do this kind of thing. So we will talk more on it.